Chapter 18. Perched on a jagged outcrop of the moon's surface, I took in the desolate beauty with an uncaring eye. Lunar dust danced in slow motion around my mecha's armored boots. The planet whose name I had forgotten hung before me in the sky. Sensing my unasked question, my onboard computer fed me the name. Nightfall, apt I think, hanging low like a ripe, blue fruit in the star-studded blackness above. This was my moment of quiet before the storm, but inside, my mind ran around in circles like a spastic space hamster on a wheel. In my mind, the request for a calm connection pinged over and over. At first I just ignored the ringing, content to simply stare out at the quiet beauty of the lunar surface, but eventually my sense of duty won out. Welp, guess I should hear what the backstabbing little tart has to say. I muttered in my head before giving the mental command to open the channel. The comm chirped to life in my dreaming mind, and Helen's voice slithered through the static. "Ice Wolf, darling, I was afraid you would never answer," she cooed, her words laced with venom disguised as honey. "Do be a dear and come to my palace. I'm putting on a little get-together and I simply must insist you attend." I couldn't help but smile in my head. So this is how she wanted to play this. She was acting like the villainess of some cheesy vid probably copied for my banter with Jade. Of course, she couldn't get me unless I came to her, so maybe I should just sit here and laugh at her, and let her worry about when I might decide to leave my moon refuge. Now why would I ever do that, my fair princess? My schedule seems to be full up. I have taken a liking to this moon. I might just settle here. It's so quiet and the neighbors are so far away, it's wonderful. I responded in a mocking voice. A vid feed request comes over the comms link and I accept. On the screen projected in my mind, Helen's mocking face appears. She looks like she is sitting on a throne and the wall behind her has some fancy mural on it. "Oh dear brave Star Knight, we are throwing my coronation party and it just wouldn't be the same without you. I simply must insist you come," Helen says. Then Helen waves her hand and the camera panned over to reveal another chair at the bottom of the stairs leading to the throne, and sitting in a chair unrestrained is Jade. But despite her unrestrained manner, there are two large humanoid-shaped battle drones flanking her. Jade looks like she had been roughed up probably by whoever grabbed her back in the bunker. Her jacket and goggles are gone, and the start of a bruise is forming on her cheek. The last thing that catches my eye is a strange choker-style necklace around Jade's neck, and as I look closer I see it has a box attached to the front that has an ominous blinking red light on it. A bomb collar. Helen had fitted a bomb collar around Jade's neck. Helen really wasn't taking any chances, was she? "See, Jade is just dying to have you come to my party." Helen's mocking voice drifts over the comm link. "Princess Helen," I drawled back, my tone light as comet fluff. "You always did know how to send an invitation. Where and when is this little party happening? Please come to the royal palace at your earliest convenience. The party will start as soon as you arrive," Helen says in her sweet mocking tone. "Don't worry about the guards. I've given them the night off since this is a private affair just between us old friends. Here are the coordinates to your landing pad, so don't take too long or Jade might just lose her head with all the waiting." A set of coordinates to a pad at the royal palace flash up along with clearance codes for the palace's defenses. Guess Helen didn't want me to smash up her new house on the way in. After everything that had happened, I really didn't want to have to deal with this. But who was I kidding? Star Knights never back down from an impossible challenge. "Tick-tock, Ice Wolf. Tick-tock," Helen sang, pointing at Jade's collar with a flourish, the bomb catching the light and glinting like a cruel star. "Keep the kettle on, princess," I replied, "I'm coming for tea." Cutting the transmission with a flick of my mind. With that, I activated my mecha's drives, feeling an unfamiliar curdling in my gut as I launched from the moon's weak gravity. What the great star goat's cud sack was Helen playing at? This was clearly a trap, but what kind could she spring on me that I couldn't just fight or jump my way through? Trap or not, I was coming, and neither Raptor Jesus nor the great star goat would stop me from saving Jade. I could decide if I still wanted her after I saved her. Flying was much slower than jumping, but I was still drained from my fight with Bookworm despite the truly wonderful drugs from my drug tube. It would be a long time before I fully recovered from the fight, but this flight would give me a little time to recover. But I couldn't take too long or Helen might decide Jade wasn't good enough bait and dispose of her. With reluctance I dialed up some of the more hardcore combat stims as well to get me in fighting shape for Helen's party. If I survived they would cost me in the long run, as some had some pretty harsh long-term effects and a nasty crash when they wore off, but that was a problem for later me. And current me wanted every advantage I could get. Coming in hot, I muttered to myself, watching the atmosphere approach. The sky turned from pitch black to a fiery orange as I penetrated the planet's atmosphere. The atmosphere blazed against my blade's shields as I fell like a meteor through the sky, ignoring the flames around me and focused on the one target in my mind. Helen's stronghold, the royal palace. I landed with a thud that echoed through the palace. The codes got me through the palace shield and the defenses didn't do more than give me and my blade a once-over, before confirming the pad I was assigned to. It was a small private one close to the throne room, probably used by the royals themselves. More interesting to me was the complete lack of guards and drones around the pad when I arrived. In fact, my scanners reported almost nothing in the palace was being used, except for a small part around the throne room area. I guess this really was going to be a private showdown. Leaving my blade behind, I stalked into the empty palace, heading for the throne room. All the halls of the palace were eerily silent. No guards, no flunkies, not even a security drone. The palace was empty. My guess was no one wanted to be at ground zero for my clash with Helen. I was also sure, as with most government flunkies, they would throw in with the winner, claiming that they always supported them. Showtime, I said to myself, as I arrived at the ornate doors leading to the throne room, wanting to make a small entrance. I hit the doors with a force blast that caused them to fly open, slamming against the walls, but due to their expensive construction they stayed on their hinges instead of flying across the room like I wanted. Striding confidently into the throne room, the scene before me unfurled like a twisted tapestry. The throne room was a long rectangular room with chandeliers and murals on the walls, and the whole room seemed to have a golden glow about it. At the far end of the room a raised dais sat with the throne on it. The room was also divided by 2 sheets of diamond glass that could be raised or lowered to keep the person on the throne safe. One sheet was just in front of the throne, the second at the bottom of the steps leading to the throne. The 2 sheets of diamond glass formed a small room where Jade sat isolated on a fairly comfy-looking chair. There she sat, Princess Helen, dressed in a large flowing dress that seemed to hover around her like a glitter cloud, and with a crown on her head. Flanked by her 2 battle drones, she looked like a twisted version of a fairy tale princess, with a dead man's switch in one hand and her computer tablet in the other. The dead man's switch was a fairly simple device. A small silver cylinder with a trigger on one side that would in this case detonate Jade's bomb collar as soon as Helen released her grip. "Welcome, Ice Wolf," Helen greeted, her voice a melody laced with poison. "So glad you could join us. Wouldn't miss it for the galaxy," I shot back, my gaze cutting through the sheets of diamond glass separating us. After that invitation, how could I possibly miss this party? So how is this gonna go down, and are there drinks? "Oh, such a brave hero, you are here to save the day, aren't you?" she purred, her fingers dancing over her computer tablet. "But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Every story needs some build-up before the climax, doesn't it?" Helen says, "But wait just 1 second, I need to get this set up first." Helen says, half distracted by her tablet. "Nice drones," I noted, feigning casual interest as I started walking towards the throne. "You worried about little old me, or are they the only subjects who are willing to be near you?" "Watch your tone, hero," Helen warned, her smile never faltering. "Or I might just forget my manners. Besides, these toys are just cameras so everyone can see you." Her cameras each had a laser cannon aimed right at my head. Not the kind of spotlight I wanted to be in. As I strode forward, the shield coating the bottom of my boots thudded against cold marble, until I stood a mere breath away from the diamond glass barrier. This barrier was thick and high quality and could probably take a couple of shots from a plasma rifle, but would pose little threat to my rift cutter. Helen finally rose to her feet with regal poise, her silhouette framed by the grandeur of the royal throne room. The drones flanking her hummed, their presence an ominous sing-song in my ears. "Ah, the fabled Ice Wolf," Helen began, her voice echoing off the towering walls, "you're just in time for the unveiling of my newest toy." She gestured grandly, sweeping her arm as if to present a twisted performance. "And with it I will be the new leader of the Chaos faction. I will hold the future of the Empire in my grasp." Leaning in, I caught the reflection of Jade's worried gaze and she mouthed, "Watch out." It only fueled my resolve. "The whole Empire, huh? That's quite the bedtime story you're spinning, Princess. You really think your new toy is that great?" "Stories are for children," she retorted, her green eyes flaring with zeal. "This is reality. With my newfound weapon, every single Star Knight shall face extinction, or kneel before me." I realized Helen must have been setting up a recording or a broadcast, and now she was making a show for her audience. "Kneeling is bad for the knees, Helen," I said with a smirk, letting confidence bleed into my words. "Besides, you've seen my handiwork. Jaren, the bank guards, They all had fancy toys too. How's your new gizmo any different? She leaned forward, her manicured fingers caressing the dead man's switch. Oh, Ice Wolf, your arrogance is almost endearing. But you'll find this weapon is unique. Unique's my middle name, I quipped, though inside, my mind raced for strategies. This had to be the secret anti-Star Knight weapon. I'm still standing after everything that's been thrown at me. Guards, drones, wings, heck, I even took down a fellow Star Knight. You really think you've got what it takes to take me down? Everything screamed at me to attack now while she was monologuing, but I had to know what this new weapon was, so I stood there like a rube and bantered with her. Me, the mighty Ice Wolf, I slay Chaos faction elites and nobles with equal ease. I have single-handedly brought down 5 wings with just my rift cutter. I say, getting into my speech, and pulling out my rift cutter and igniting it, then walking around in a small circle with my arms out. So bring it on, princess, I say with bravado, turning back to face her. Your confidence will be your downfall. Helen laughs out at my performance. You'll see. Seeing is believing, princess, I replied. Let's not keep the audience waiting. Her laughter echoed through the throne room, a sinister symphony that made the hairs on my neck stand on end. Princess Helen sat back down on her throne, and her finger descended like an executioner's blade upon a single, unassuming button embedded in the armrest of her throne. Watch closely, Ice Wolf, she purred, her voice oozing mockery and malice. A low hum permeated the air, growing steadily into a resonant thrum that vibrated through my bones. It was more than sound, it was a palpable force, and as it washed over me, I felt the protective shield generated by my glove flicker and die like a snuffed-out flame, and I shuddered as I fell an inch to the marble floor. Welcome to your new reality, Helen said, her smile wide and wicked. My heart slammed against my ribs, a relentless drumbeat signaling the gravity of our situation. Without my shield, I was down to raw reflexes and the thin armor of my suit. Ever since awakening, my shield had been my second skin, allowing me to charge into danger knowing I would survive, now rendered useless by whatever witchcraft Helen had conjured up with the press of a button. Didn't see that coming, did you? She taunted from behind the diamond glass, reveling in the upper hand she suddenly held. Not so tough without your little shield now, are you? Turns out you've got a trick or two, I admitted, forcing nonchalance into my tone even as my brain scrambled to slot in this new unexpected twist. But it'll take more than party tricks to stop me. My bravado was part showmanship, part stubborn defiance. The reality was stark. Without my shield, I couldn't safely jump. I would have to once again do a bare rift jump. An unprotected jump through the nightmare realm that we traveled through when we jumped. Not having a shield meant I risked injury, death, or worse, getting stuck in the rift realm. Each leap would be a gamble, a roll of cosmic dice with my life as the wager. I had done them before, but they had always come with a cost. Helen's laughter filled the room with a cold promise of chaos to come. But even as the danger closed in, my mind was already leaping ahead, plotting my next move in this high-stakes game of galactic chess. Suddenly the room's energy shifted as Helen's laughter cut off. Oh, Ice Wolf, she said, her voice dripping with mockery. You're so predictable, always playing the hero, rushing in here to save the girl, thinking you're untouchable because of your powers. But the galaxy is changing, and you're looking at its new empress. I stood rigid, muscles coiled tight, watching her smirk widen. My Chaos Knights will sweep through the star systems, and this shieldbreaker will even the playing field. No more rift jumps, no more shields, and without your powers there is no way the Star Knights can stand up to my armies. But you, she leaned forward, her green eyes sparking. You could be my champion. Think about it. Turning your back on those Star Knight relics and embracing true power. A Chaos Knight, huh? I snorted, tossing her offer around in my head like a grenade without a pin. Got a nice ring to it, but I don't think black's really my color. Still, it's an intriguing offer. Her smile faltered for a split second, revealing the serpent beneath the skin. Even now, she thought she could manipulate me to her side. But I wasn't one to bend the knee. A Star Knight would rather die than bend the knee to a tyrant. I glanced at Jade, taking in the stark fear etched on her face, the bomb collar snug around her neck. A black band of death with a box attached, small enough to overlook if you weren't staring death in the face. My gut twisted, but I kept my face as cool as the moon's surface outside. I needed time to come up with a plan. Nice accessory you've given, Jade, I quipped, feigning nonchalance while every nerve ending screamed at me. What's the matter? Ran out of tiaras? You gonna fit all your new subjects with one? Helen's laugh rang false this time. Just insurance. I did see what you did to poor Jaren, now enough delaying Wolf. You need to make your choice now. You're either with me or against me. Choice, right. My knuckles cracked on my cutter's hilt, feeling the weight of the decision pressing down. I need to get that collar off Jade and deal with Helen and her drones. The collar was simple enough, low-tech compared to the usual fare, but deadly all the same. Tick-tock, Ice Wolf, Helen pressed, her finger clenched on the button that was keeping Jade alive, her other hand poised over her tablet to unleash her drones. Guess we'll do this the hard way, then, I whispered, barely audible. Inside, my brain, the hamsters inside ran on their little wheels till their feet smoked. But thanks to my brave little brain hamsters, a well-hair-brained plan was formed. Here's my answer, I say, locking eyes with Helen. I always did like a challenge. My senses sharpened to a razor's edge, each sound amplified, each color vibrant against the backdrop of impending doom. I had one shot, and the clock was ticking. This was going to be a leap of faith in every sense, just another day in the life of Ice Wolf, only the stakes were higher, and the game deadlier than ever before. With only a slight hesitation, I activated my rift jump. The familiar rush of arcane energy surged through me, the air crackling as reality bent to my will. I blinked through that other place, the realm that was not reality, and across the room through the diamond glass shield, in a heartbeat, but not without cost. That other place released me, but it took its pound of flesh. Cuts erupted across my body, rivulets of blood painting a stark contrast against my now shredded silver and blue armor. Damn, I grunted, ignoring the shredding pain all across my body that screamed for attention. That's gonna itch later. Jade's eyes were wide with fear and confusion as I appeared beside her. No time for reassurances, I had a job to do. My grip tightened on the hilt of my rift cutter, its edge humming with pent-up energy. With surgical precision, I stabbed my glowing deadly bar of purple death straight through the box holding the explosives. As stated before, rift cutters don't cut in a traditional way, they instead teleport the things they cut away to the jump realm. In an instant, the collar was gone, or at least the boomy part, rifted safely into the void. Jade gasped, free from immediate danger but missing a thin slice of skin on her neck, but there was no time for celebrations. Showtime, I announced, not entirely sure if I was trying to psych myself up or warn Helen of the storm about to break loose. With a guttural scream that tore from the depths of my soul, I channeled more energy into my rift cutter than I ever had before. It wasn't just a weapon now, it was an extension of my rage, my defiance against this would-be empress. The blade elongated, stretching out to a monstrous 20 feet, gleaming with destructive potential. We had all been told to only use this little trick in emergencies, because it would either ruin the blade or cause it to explode. But I could get one good slash, and that was all I needed. Hey Helen, catch, I yelled, swinging the supercharged rift cutter in a wide arc. The air itself seemed to scream in protest as the blade cleaved through the diamond glass barrier, the two high-tech battle drones, and finally Helen Blackstar herself. The cut was clean, almost beautiful in its deadly precision. It was the kind of move bards would sing about, or at least the kind that would get plenty of replays on the galactic net. For a fleeting second, I allowed myself a smirk. This was Ice Wolf at his finest, saving the day, defying the odds, and making it look easy. The whole fight took only about 2 seconds to play out in real time. With an angry whine, my trusty rift cutter let out a puff of blue acrid magic smoke and crumpled in my hand. As I let the broken handle fall from my hand, I thought, guess that's why they say to not try to overload your rift cutter. Helen's bisected body let out one gasping last statement that was caught by her mic. But they said it would stop you. This can't be real. I was going to be empress, I'm a princess. And with a final gasp of, not fair, so ended Helen Blackstar, Princess of Nightfall. The throne room echoed with the thrum of victory and the fading whine of dying battle drones. I stood amidst the chaos I'd just unleashed, the taste of copper and pine needles sharp on my tongue, the metallic scent of my blood and power mingling with the tang of scorched circuits and royal blood. Game over, princess, I murmured, my voice barely a thread of sound as my legs gave out beneath me. The floor came up fast, cold and unyielding against my cheek. My helmet had been left in the void. My armor, a gift from Jade, once a second skin, was now shredded by otherworldly claws, my body scarcely better. I was covered by dozens of small cuts that bled freely. Now that the battle was over, the weight of my wounds were dragging me down into darkness. Each breath was a fight, each heartbeat a war drum pounding out the cost of my Pyrrhic victory. Jade? I managed, lifting my head enough to seek out her eyes. There she was, safe, the bomb collar nothing more than a band of metal at her feet. Right here, Ice Wolf. Jade's voice cracked through the haze. She had rushed to my side, her hand trembling as she reached out to me. I tried to grin, for her sake, but it came across more of a grimace as I felt the blood from my many cuts fall into my mouth, bringing the now familiar taste of copper and pine needles with it. Rest now, she soothed, her fingers brushing back the spiky snowfall of my hair. You did it, you saved us all. Us all meant more than just the people in this room. It meant the Empire, the countless lives unaware how close they'd come to being pawns in Helen's twisted game. That thought alone fueled a spark of satisfaction within me, burning through the fog of fatigue. Hey, I said, fighting to keep my eyelids from closing. Tell me we got that on camera. I want replay rights. Everything's recorded, Jade assured me, a watery chuckle escaping her. Heroics and humor included. Good, 'cause I'm gonna need a good story. For the bosses back home. My voice trailed off as the blackness finally claimed me, my body spent, my consciousness ebbing away. But even as I surrendered to the void, I knew one thing for certain. Ice Wolf might crash, might burn, but he always saves the day.